So another round on the E36. You would have seen that I've been busy sanding the car ready to polish, and I've still got to do the back part of it. So today I'm going to get it all polished up, or get the front end polished up, and then I can focus on sanding the rest, because I basically just want to do a test section, making sure that the sanding that I'm doing is right and making sure I can polish it back up, and then also I can focus on the rest of it and hopefully get the rest looking as good as the front. So yeah, what I'm going to do, literally just crack on today, get it all polished, and then we can start sanding down the rest. So I'll show you the progress so far for those that are not up to date with it, and then we can crack right on. So I've had to bring the car inside because it's a wet and miserable evening, which is not ideal. So it's nearly the end of May and it's not looking that great, but I suppose we have had a good run of good weather, but it's just letting this to dry because I've pulled it outside. But what I'll do is get all this sanded down, get all this polished up today, and then we'll hopefully get it looking back like this part, because I have also gone over this part before, which you would have seen. I've started sanding down a little bit of it, just trying to take some more of the orange peel out, but hopefully we can get all that polished up nice enough today, and then we'll get the door done and then the passenger door, and that should be it all. And then obviously we can focus on the back. But like I said, what I wanted to do is get these bits polished, and then we can have a look at it properly and just make sure that I'm on the right path, so then I can crack on with the rest of it. Because no point sanding it down, all of it, and then polishing it and realising that it's still not good. So let's get these polished up and let's see what these look like, and then we can focus on the rest. You would have seen that I've sanded all of this down from 1000 up to 3000. The doors are actually looking quite good, to be fair. There's no orange peel from what I can see. There's a couple of little bits where there's a couple of run marks and stuff like that, but other than that, the doors look really good. So what my plans are, I'm going to be machine polishing it with the Flex P130-3, I think. It's a very, very old machine. I've had this since I started detailing many, many years ago. I've bought a new Koch Chemie wall pad, and I've got the Koch Chemie heavy cut, which I'm going to use to cut through all of the sanding marks, and then obviously I'll work my way up with finishing it back to try and get the paintwork nice. But probably what I'll do, I'll just do one stage of polishing on it. I'll get it all cut back, get the paintwork brought up, and then I'll focus on the refinishing stages once the car's actually complete and fitted. Because there's no point doing a 3-stage machine polishing on it, and then obviously these doors will be coming on and off. I'll be putting door handles on, so there's a potential of it getting marred and scratched when I'm like got my hands on it and stuff. So we'll get it up with the wall pad, get it up with the Koch Chemie, we'll leave it, get it all fitted up, and then also do the rest of it. But yeah, let's crack on, because I've got a lot of work to do this evening. So what I'll do, I'll crack on with this top section. I've got a couple of P-drop size bits of polish on there. Just going to work it up to like 16 passes, something like that. We'll see how it is, but it should bring it up straight away, to be fair. But obviously just got to make sure that all of the sanding marks are out completely, and just make sure I'm not going down too heavy. Then obviously I can do the same process what I've done on this on the rest of it. So we'll do a little 50-50. I'll try and do like down to there or something, and then I'll show you it in a little bit more detail. So we'll get this buffed off, see what it's looking like. That looks unreal, to be fair. Polish a little bit more up here. See if that's done the trick. Yeah, that looks unreal. I'm so happy with that. So I've started polishing this part here, just with the Koch Chemie heavy. So as you can see, that reflection is absolutely mental. And if you compare it over to here, so let's get this cloth. Well, you can even feel it. It's just very orange peel. I don't know why that was in the first place, but you see the reflection's quite blurry. Can't really make out the reflection on me. Whereas in this bit, you can work out exactly what's going on in the reflection. Whereas here, it's just so orange peel, it's so blurry. It's worse in person. It doesn't look too bad in the video, but it's worse in person. So like I said, what I'll do, I'll polish this all down with the Crotch Chemie Heavy, and then we'll focus on finishing it back, because in the light it's quite hazy. If we put the lights on quick, let's send these lights, not the best lights, but it's all I've got to hand at the minute. So you see it's quite hazy and quite swirly and stuff, but you can see the metallic looks mad. But basically all of them swirls and the haziness will get removed with like a medium fine polish and pad, and then a finishing cut, and then that'll get that back to pretty much mint. So I do want to try and get a paint depth gauge just to work out how much paint's left on there and stuff like that, but so far so good. So what I'll do, now I know that's working, I'll just crack on with the rest of it now, get this all polished up, and then once it's all done I might try and fit the front end, and then we can start concentrating on the back doors and all that sort of stuff. But really happy with the results so far. The paint looks unreal in the light. I'm just hoping, got to make sure, fingers crossed, I don't go too heavy with polishing it, because you can burn through, and I've got to make sure the paint actually lasts. Otherwise all this hard work is just not going to be worth it at all. But yeah, let's crack on. I've got a couple more hours to spend on this car tonight, so let's crack on with it, get it all polished up, and let's see what it looks like in a couple of hours. So it started off doing a little bit of a 50-50 on the door. As you see, I'm using the wall pad with the Crotch Chemie Heavy cut, which is actually bringing up the paintwork a lot better. This is my favourite combination to use on any cars and any detailing jobs. Crotch Chemie, I find, just gets the job done in a one-er. You don't have to mess about using loads of different polishes to try and get the right result. And as you can see, it's bringing up the paintwork a lot better. So I'm going to continue using this powder and polish compound throughout. Obviously what I'm going to do is go back around the car once I've fitted up all the panels properly and once all lined up. So the only problem is, if I end up doing a 3-stage cut and polish at the minute whilst we're still messing about with the car, there's a chance of it getting scratched, then I'll have to repolish it. So with this process I'm basically just getting it as good as I can until everything is all fitted up properly, and then I can go around the car when it's all done. So progress has been made. As you can see, you can actually see the reflection now. There's a couple of little bits just like where the ridges of the doors and stuff are, which I need to polish when I've got a smaller pad, because I just can't get in there at the minute with this big 5.5. But I'm not going to worry too much about that until the car is actually fitted. But as you can see, there's such a good result considering that's what it was like before. So it's literally like a mirror. Granted, like when you go really up close and personal, there's still some orange peel and stuff, but it is so much better than compared to what before. And obviously I'll probably end up putting a wrap on this, which I'll probably end up not doing, to be fair, because I quite like the paint now. It's all polished back. But yeah, first all done, let's crack on with the rest. Next pan I'll probably focus on finishing off the bonnet. So I've got this half to do and this little section here, and then obviously I need to just go over this with the polish, because I've only used that old polish that I bought from All Parts, which I'm not too happy with. I prefer the Crotch Chemie. So I'll concentrate on getting this bit done, that bit done, and then I'll blow it in with the rest of it, just because this is one of the largest panels to do, and it'd be good to see the result on this whilst it's starting to dry up a bit. Right, so update on the bonnet. I have polished it, but I do need to go back around it with another deep cut. But like I said to you earlier, I'm going to do what I can for it at the minute, and then obviously refine it back when it comes around to actually fitting it up properly, because there's no point in getting it all fitted and then scratching it and then having to repolish it. So I just basically wanted to make sure that what I'm doing is correct and that the sanding marks will come out with the Koch Chemi polish. But as you can see, it is looking so much clearer. Obviously ignore the holograms, ignore any swells and stuff like that, but the paintwork's looking so much better. There's definitely still some orange peel in there, so maybe at some point we could look at doing another little wet sand job, bit of like a localised job, and just polishing it up. But yeah, really happy with that, looking so good. So all I've got left to do now is the door and then the wings and the bumper. So again, with these, I've already sanded these down from 1,000 up to 3,000, so they're all good to go. And then I've also got just to clear off all the water and stuff because I've just left it to dry, so now it's all got like a white film on it. So both wings, bumper, the grille, it's all left to polish, and then obviously I can just concentrate on the rest of the car. I've still got the back doors to do. The rear quarter is going to have to be repainted. The roof's potentially going to have to be repainted, which I'll get onto another point and let you know what's going on with that, because I've had a couple of issues with that. And I've also got to sand down the back and the boot lid. I have actually started to sand down and polish the rear boot lid just to see as a little test, and it's actually come up really well, but that needs a proper cut before I go any further with that. But it's just the backs of the boot, which is so orange, it looks so bad. God knows how I've got it that bad. And then obviously, like I say, it's just the door on this side to do, which I'll try and do tonight if I can. So that's all good to go. But like I said, the bonnet is looking really, really good. Obviously, it's not perfect at this stage, but it should come up a lot better with another couple of stages of polishing once it's all fitted up. As to be expected, there is some issues with the paintwork on the car, which is not ideal. So I'm going to have to redo some parts, which is an absolute disaster because we're end of May, nearly into June. It's the 30th of May tomorrow. And obviously this needs to be ready for July for the Nürburgring trip, and it's just not looking likely at the minute. Still got to finish off the paintwork that's not right, sand it all down, fit it all up and all that sort of stuff, do the engine work and all of that. But let me show you what I mean. So you would know that I'm sanding down the doors. I've still got to sand down this door. So I've started to do this door, which is actually looking quite good to be fair. Obviously it needs to be properly polished. And then you might have seen that there were some issues with the lacquer on this side. I'll show you on this. So basically, I let it dry, and then I noticed I left it to cover up with this, just so it didn't get too dusty. And I noticed a couple of days later that the lacquer was starting to have some issues, as you can see there. This was causing imprints in the lacquer, which shouldn't have been right, because this all should have been fully dry. So I don't think I've used the right or the correct amount of hardener when I was doing the shell of the car, which is not ideal. So that means I'm having to sand down all of this. And the problem is now, I don't know why, but it's just such a nightmare to sand down. It's just not. So if you see there, like the lacquer is just causing issues, and it's just not sanding down as easy as what it did when the car was obviously painted before. So I think I've gone around this as much as I can. I think, do you know what, this is just going to take ages. So what I think I'm going to have to do is get some paint stripper and just try and get paint strip on it, because I'm also going to have to do the roof, because the roof's having issues. Because obviously I've done this all in a oneer, and then as you can see in the roof, there's some like imperfections in the lacquer and stuff, which obviously just won't come out being sanded. And then I'm going to have to do the door shuts and the sill, which is an absolute disaster. So all of this is going to have to be somehow stripped, sanded, primed, and then painted. So I'm not in the best of moods today after that, because it was actually all going so well. And if I just used what I think I did, I put hardener in it, but I didn't mix it properly. And I'm thinking if I just mixed it properly, I wouldn't be having this issue, because this is going to take hours now to get correct. Because obviously I've got to strip it all, prime it all, paint it all, and then mask it all up and all that sort of stuff. And I've got to hope that when it comes round to doing that and it's all done, it doesn't happen again, because I'm hoping it's something to do with the hardener. But it might not be. It might be something to do with spray gun, it might be something to do with paint, I'm not sure. But yeah, not ideal, because this obviously just pushes the deadline back, and I've obviously fitted up the doors and stuff like that as well. So yeah, not best pleased, but that's probably the perks or the benefits and the pros and cons of doing bodywork at home out of a gazebo. Yeah, I definitely give body shops a little bit more credit than what I used to, that's for sure, because it is an absolute ball ache. It's looking good though. The areas that I've sanded down and polished up are starting to look good, but there's so much time that goes into it. So yeah, so what I'm going to do tonight is finish off the sanding on the doors, get that done, and then over the weekend I'll have to strip down the paint, prime it all, paint it all, and then next week get the rest of it sanded. But if I get all of the bits sanded now that I need to, obviously it saves me doing it next week, so I'll crack on with that for a minute, get these doors sanded down, and then we'll focus on the other bits over the weekend. Got cars and covers tomorrow, so yeah, let's try not to be too stressed out for that. But yeah, I've got some work to do, so let's crack on. What I'm going to do for a minute, whilst obviously we worry about the back end and the shell a bit later on, you'll know that I've already sanded down this part, and then as you can see in this part you can't really see my reflection, so that's the reflection in that because there's orange peel, and that's the reflection in this. Bear in mind I've only gone round this with a heavy cut, I haven't gone round it properly either, so it does need to be another cut of heavy, then medium, then we're finishing. But for what I'll do, we'll get the doors sanded down, so we'll make some sort of progress on that this evening. So before I moved on to sanding down the back quarter properly to get it ready to be repainted, I thought I'd go around the door, the passenger rear door. Obviously driver's door is done, as you would have seen. So I'm just going around it with the wet and dry sandpaper, just making sure I wet it down as much as I can as I go along. Obviously just being careful of the edges and stuff where the paint's a little bit thinner. But literally just wetting it down as I go, going all the way from 1000 up to 3000, and then it'll be ready to be machine polished. I'm putting off doing the quarter until the next day, as it was just taking too much time to sand down, but it's just a case of getting the door ready to be polished, and then obviously I can move on to the quarter. Whose idea was it to start painting this bloody car? I'm having an absolute nightmare with it on this back quarter, trying to sand it all down to try and get rid of this lacquer that I've put on that obviously I haven't mixed properly. I could tell I haven't mixed it properly because it's just quite soft, even when like sanding it off, it's almost like a bit tacky. It's almost a bit like tar. But yeah, I'm pulling my hair out with this, and I've resorted to the big boy machine polisher to sand it off. So, see, you would know that I've got the Ryobi sander. Now I've brought out the Flex, obviously, which I use for machine polishing, and I've started to sand down the car. It's actually starting to bring it up quite nice, to be fair, and it's nice and smooth. So I think that's pretty much nearly ready to put primer on it. I'm going to have to put some etch primer on it, because obviously it's down to bare in some places. But yeah, absolute disaster. This is the state of the sanding disc and stuff. So as you can see in the sun, it's almost like a bit tacky. So obviously I haven't used the hardener properly, which is annoying really, because everything else has come out pretty well. Like that's the state of the panel at the minute, the one that I've sanded. Obviously that's the one I've started to sand, which you probably would have seen. I have no idea the sequence of these videos at the minute, it's all over the place. Just a shame that these back quarters, because this is obviously the last thing on the car, and it was a typical Friday job. It was literally on a Friday, and it was one of them Friday afternoon things where you're sort of in a bit of a, I wasn't to say I was rushing it, but I just wanted to get it complete so I could just crack on with the rest of it, which is obviously now there's been further issues. So, but yeah, from what I can feel, that's all nice and smooth, and then all like the actual lacquer itself is off. There's a couple little bits like inside the ridges and stuff. I've just got to go over and make sure. I've got to do the back piece with the roof and stuff. I'm probably just going to sand this and then probably just get Reese to wrap it. I have done a little test. If we look at the state of it inside here, it's ridiculous, but it's brand new cloth, but oh well. So if we have a look on the roof, let's jump up because I'm only short. So if we have a look on the roof, I don't know whether you can see there. I put some tape on it because basically I want to see if the lacquer is really soft. And as you can see, it's causing sort of imprints in the lacquer, which obviously means the lacquer is obviously soft because of the hardening issue. But what I'm going to do is start to sand down this. As you can see, it looks quite clear. And over this side it looks quite dull. So if you try and move it across, I don't know if it'll see any difference, but over here is basically as it is. So I'll flat and polish this. I haven't spoke to Reece yet, and probably what I'll do with the roof is just wrap it in carbon. Just because I cannot be asked to go through this process like I've done on the side, on the roof. I haven't got the time to do it, and I just can't be asked. So if we have a little look around, got some stuck to my foot. So I've still got to do this back panel, which I'm not looking forward to do because, like I say, it's just absolute pig to do. And it's not actually too bad, like it's very orange peely, but yeah. So I've got all of this to sand down, and then I'm going to leave it as that. Obviously you've got to sand like flat and polish that. I've got to polish the door. I can't actually remember where I'm up to on that door now, which is a bit annoying. I'm pretty sure I just need to polish that. Like I said, I'm doing too many different jobs on the car. I should probably focus on it all and then get it done. But the other thing is as well, obviously because I've done the door shuts and stuff, the door shuts are almost quite weak as well. So like anything that's touching on the door shut sort of setting in. So I'm going to sand down these and polish it and just leave it as that and hope for the best. I've noticed as well I've lost a piece in there, which is not ideal, but is what it is. So yeah, that is the plan for today. Get all these bits sanded and go from there. I've got to pop out later, so I'm just going to try and get what I can done for a minute, and then it'll probably be a Sunday job tomorrow to finish off the rest of it. But it's nearly there. It's nearly there. So I thought in this video I'll show you exactly how you can remove orange peel and dirt and paint by wet sanding it. Now,